Welcome to Nazarene Israel. My name is Norman Willis, and in this video series, we have been talking all about set-apart communities. What are they? Why are they so very important? And why does Elohim expect us all to take part in one of his son's set-apart communities and help to grow it? Well, what we've seen so far is that Yeshua's set-apart communities are the basic building blocks of his ordered kingdom. So when we have a community and it's ordered correctly within itself, and then the priesthood comes along and connects the well-ordered building blocks, that transforms Yeshua's body and turns it into his kingdom. And that's what he wants, is he wants us to help him build his kingdom. So according to the law of first mention, the first time something is mentioned in Scripture, that sets the standard for everything else that is to follow. However, there can be departures from the original first use, and that's what we're going to see in this final part of our Set Apart Community series, is that because of the end times, things are not always going to go according to plan. So please join us now for this 12th and final part of our Set Apart Community series. We talk about concerns for the end times. This is important information that will affect you and your family. Stay with us. It's no fun having an adversary, especially when he's out to get you. But one thing is, you never play better team sports, and you never fight more effectively as a spiritual fighting force than when you have an adversary to overcome. He's trying to overcome you, but your job is to overcome him at the last. Well, we know that in these end times, there is a new world order, and the world is pushing for a new world order and for a one world religion. And as we know from our studies in prophecy, this will happen, and the new world order and the one world religion will temporarily reign, but we will overcome them at the end with Elohim's help. Now in Revelation, or Hitgalut chapter 13 and verse 1, it says, "Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea." We know from our studies in prophecy that the sea represents people. Now, we know that we will see a one-world Babylonian beast religion, and it will be based primarily on Catholicism, or perhaps a mixture of Catholicism and Islam, or what they call Chrislam, and that this will fool most people, those who are hoping to live their lives in the world and just get along. It will fool most of them. Well, and because it will fool most of them, it says in verse 7, "It was given unto this first beast to make war with the set-apart ones, and to overcome them, at least temporarily. And power was given to him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth," meaning those who are living their lives in the world, "shall worship him, those whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world." Well, things get worse. We need to be serious about it. In verse 11, we see that a second beast comes up out of the earth, and the earth symbolic of governments, so we know that this is a governmental type beast. It says, "And he had two horns like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon." And many people believe that this is a reference to the United Nations. It says, "And he exercises all the authority of the first religious beast in his presence. And the second beast causes the earth and those who dwell in it," meaning those who are living their lives in the world, "to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Now, we talk about this in the study on Revelation and the end times, or if you watch on the YouTube channel, we talk about the study in Revelation Simplified. But the important thing to note is this will be a temporary phenomenon. Remember that. In Daniel chapter 12 and verse 7, it says, "Then I heard the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river. And when he held up his right hand and his left hand to heaven, and swore by him who lives forever, that this would all last for a time and times and half a time. But then, when the power of the set-apart people had been completely shattered, all of those things would be finished." And what that means is that we will become temporarily pushed underground, but not permanently, and that's the thing to remember. So what does it mean that the power of the set-apart people might be completely shattered? Well, one thing we might expect, we don't know this for sure, but we might expect that at some point the priesthood will be pushed underground, and that all that will be left will be the set-apart physical assemblies. In other words, we might wake up one day and the website might simply be gone. Could very well happen. And in that day, you're going to need set-apart community. And so, by logical extension, thinking ahead and planning ahead, it makes sense to have the materials that you're going to need already on hand so that you can carry on in that day. In other words, for all you preppers, it's time to prepare ourselves. Well, one recommendation we could make is that for everyone watching this video, please go to the books page of the Nazarene Israel website and download and save all the electronic resources. You can download the videos too if you like, but at least the written studies, preferably the videos also, because one day communications may be cut off and controlled, and we may need those resources in that day. Another recommendation we could make is that for those who can afford it, that communities or individuals should purchase at least one printed copy of our books for reference, and we sell them at our cost. But that way, they're talking about how the computers will all be connected to the internet in the future. It won't necessarily be our computer. It will be just part of their internet. So it may be difficult to access electronic materials in the future. Therefore, it could pay to have printed copies. Amos 8 and verse 11 tells us that, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh Elohim, that he will send a famine on the land. Not a famine of bread, and not a thirst for water, but a famine for hearing the words of Yahweh. So what this tells us is that there will come a time when most people will not hear the word of Yahweh. We can see that change happening now. But so for those of us who are called to hear and listen to the word of Yahweh, it's time to begin preparing for the day when we may not have access to the word of Yahweh. And not only for ourselves, but also for those who will be called to the faith, who will be called to seek truth during these end times. Because that's one of the purposes of the tribulation, is to turn up the heat to get Yahweh's people to turn back to him. So we know it's going to happen. It's ironic. One of those things is, as persecution increases, also the number of adherents to the faith also increases. We know this is going to happen. Let's take a look. In Hitgalut, or Revelation chapter 6 and verse 12, it says that when John looked, the Lamb was opening the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake. Now, in Hebrew, that word would be ra'ash. It refers to a seismic event, or a shakeup, or in this case, a societal earthquake. And then in verse 14, then the sky receded as a scroll when it's rolled up, and every mountain and island, referring to countries and borders, was moved out of its place. And these are the kinds of changes one might expect when the new world order is set up. There's going to be a shakeup in the societal order, and every country and every border is going to become changed because they're setting up a new world order system. Well, we believe that this is also the time the body's going to grow, because not only are the 144,000 sealed after that, but we also read in Ezekiel 37 and verse 7 that there's another ra'ash there in that passage. Ezekiel says, so I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and suddenly a rattling, meaning a shake-up or shaking or a seismic event. We believe that's the shake-up in the social order that's going to take place when the new world order begins to be set up. Now notice, at the same time the 144,000 are being sealed, Ezekiel says that the bones began to come together, bone upon bone. Now we explain this in Revelation in the end times, but basically the bones, we would liken those to the leadership of the congregations, because the bones are what gives the body form and shape, and the leadership, that's what gives the assemblies form and shape. So what it seems like to us in our prayer, and we ask you please to pray with us, for these other leaders and teachers, that they will begin to understand and appreciate and comply with what Scripture says to do, which is for all of Yeshua's ministers to form one single ministry together. Yeshua doesn't want a bunch of little bitty competing ministries, every man taking his proceeds home for himself. That doesn't glorify Yeshua. That's anti-Yeshua. What Yeshua wants is for all of his ministers to join together to work at his ministry together. And that's what his ministers need to be doing. So I ask you please to pray with us, because we know that this day is coming. We know that there will be another war, and we know that the New World Order will be set up after that. We also know that the dry bones resurrection will take place, and the first thing that has to happen is the leadership, the bones, have to come together, bone on bone. Please pray with us for it. Well, just to take a realistic view, we know that the body's going to start to come together after this next war. And we know that persecution will increase. We also know that the number of believers will increase. We see the same phenomenon happen in China, in Iran, in many different places. We also know that this will continue for some time, at least 20 years of the half an hour of silence in heaven. But then during the second half of the Great Tribulation, during the time of Jacob's trouble, it may be that the communication with the priesthood is cut off. So in other words, you have all the assemblies that the priesthood is joining together, but it may be that the priesthood is no longer able to tie these separate, set-apart communities together. Well, in that day, then it figures logically that what you need, you especially need to belong to a set-apart community in that day. If there are no more priesthood communications, you will need to belong to a local set-apart community, because simply for survival reasons, you will need to be able to support each other and help each other get along through those end times. But one of the things that we've talked about so far is then what this calls for is the need for the people to support their local community leaders. Because it doesn't matter how good you are. Even the apostle Shaul, he had a lot of help. He needed help. So, and plus, apart from physical survival, the Great Commission is a team sport. Evangelizing your local city or town, that's a team sport. And there's a lot of people, they're willing to let the leadership do it all on their own, so to speak, and just see what they can get from Yeshua. But that's not what Yeshua wants. Yeshua wants mature believers who want to help give back. And if you think about it, it's impossible for, no matter how good he is, or no matter how good a man and his wife are, they can't possibly do it all by themselves, because the Great Commission is a team sport. It takes all of us participating. So really what this says is that Elohim is giving us all an opportunity to show him how much we love him by helping the elders and the deacons take the Great Commission to their town. And we know already that we're going to get suppressed. We know we're going to be overcome. However, we also know that what we're doing is going to be enduring, because it will spring back up. And there will be a great reward for setting it up. And we also know that this is the control mechanism that's going to be used during the millennium so that the saints can rule and reign over the nations. So by setting up the control mechanism, we're only helping ourselves and our children. There's no negative, there's no downside to it at all. So it's something we all need to be doing. Well, I'll never forget, I told one brother, I shared all these things with him, and his wife was so excited. She's practically jumping up and down in her chair, and she's like so excited she can barely contain herself. And I just remember talking to the brother about this. He's just like, oh man, that just sounds like a lot of work. And you have to think about that. You have to think about, if Yeshua had spoken with his disciples and he had said that he would suffer a horrible, agonizing, miserable death, and he'd be whipped and scourged and nailed to a cross or a stake or a tree or whatever, gallows or whatever you want to call it, and his disciples had been all there, and they say, that just sounds like a lot of work. You have to wonder how much people today in the Messianic movement take things for granted, that because the apostles went through all these things, that they don't have to. And it's just really, you have to wonder about that. And a lot of people, they really don't understand the difference between friendship and true relational fellowship. Because a lot of people say, well, I go to a home fellowship. They don't really have a home fellowship. What they have is a home friendship. And they say, well, we gather in homes and we have a shared meal. We read the Torah portion together. We share insights. We break bread. What do we need leadership for? We're already reading. We're already learning. We're always sharing insights. But what they're not understanding is that's not it. When we go to stand in the judgment, we're not going to take a quiz. He's not going to give us a written test, an oral examination to see how much we know. He's going to be taking a look at, yes, it's true. We need to know. We have to understand what we're doing in order to make an effective contribution. But he's going to rate us on our contribution. He's going to say, I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm sure he's going to say, did you read my book? And how many times? And then he's also going to say, and did you do what it said? Did you do what my son's word says to do? And if the answer is yes, then he'll be happy. And if we didn't do what his son asked us to do in the Great Commission, he won't be happy. There's a lot of people, I think, they don't think about that. So, but we know in true fellowship, there's an effort to organize as a team and then to evangelize and pastor the local community. That's how the Great Commission grows. So we know in order to do this as part of the effective team, in order to establish Yeshua's kingdom, there also have to be leaders that are appointed by the priesthood. And once again, we know that we will be overcome at the last, but it will spring back up. So there will be success. So if you are a person who's interested to help us build Yeshua's ordered kingdom according to everything we've discussed in this study and according to the Nazarene Israel doctrine, then please contact us, contact@nazareneisrael.org. We are intended to live in community, and things are very definitely much better in community. However, if you happen to be one of the people who doesn't have physical community, take heart, because Yahweh promises us in Jeremiah or Yirmiyahu chapter 3 and verse 14 that he will take us, one from a city and two from a family, and bring us to Zion. And very often it happens that those of us who are working hard in the priesthood and we're working hard in support of the Great Commission, sometimes we are all alone at this point, at this early stage. We don't have anyone to meet with. But we gather together online to do Yeshua's will, and we ask for him to join us, and we know that he does because we feel his presence. And this is just as he promises us, that wherever 2 or 3 are gathered together in his name, there he is in the midst of us. But we know it's definitely better in community, and we know that there's definitely a great reward for those who help build community. We also know that the numbers will greatly increase following this next war. There will be a need to establish structure and order. We ask you please to help us pray for the leadership, that they will come together as the dry bones resurrection says. Thank you for your prayers. May Elohim be with us all. Shalom.